Welcome back to the Shared Diary. This is the space where the private becomes public and the stories we usually keep to ourselves finally find a home. I'm Lori.
I'm Debbie. And I'm Nicole.
We are three women with no secrets, just life. Because life is always better when the diary is open. So grab a seat, lean in, and let's get into today's entry. Well, hello, everyone. I am so excited. We are so excited for this episode. It is such an important topic, but not only that, but I just love the fact that I get to every single Friday come here and be a part of this conversation. And we love that you guys are a part of it as well. And as you can see, I'm in beautiful Florida. I'm at the Bay and I am doing some tourism with my wonderful daughter and her boyfriend who are visiting. So I just decided to bring my computer and pop on the podcast. So here we are. So if you're listening to this, you have no idea what I'm saying. But if you're watching, I wanted to give you guys a wonderful view of the water and the beauty that goes along with that. So how about you, Debbie and Nicole? Are you excited for today's topic? By the way, it is, are you actually happy or just used to your life? And I know we've all felt this way, but I would love to hear from you, Nicole and Debbie. Who wants to go first?
Oh, I'm super excited to be here. And I was loving watching your view. It's so beautiful, Lori, so beautiful. But I'm really excited because the three of us get to be together today. And it's so nice to have us all in the room and being here to discuss something that I think is really important, probably, like I think Debbie even said in a description, it's a deeper topic a bit today. And so I'm looking forward to figuring out what this is, or talking about this and discussing it a little deeper. How about you, Debbie?
Yes. And you know what? It's always a good day when we get to be in community together with us and all of us that have, like, there's some regulars. So if you're a regular and you're seeing us, hashtag regular. And then, of course, if you're new, we want to know that as well. But I really was excited about this conversation. It goes hand in hand with what we've been talking about with all of the other series, not planned series, let me phrase that, but it's just one week after another. We go deeper into conversations and our coming up Ignite call or program. It goes hand in hand. And it takes some radical honesty to answer this question. So today you're going to get some real honest conversation from the three of us. And we hope that deep reflection for all of you that are watching. And then shout out to that background. Like, here I am in my home and I'm watching Lori and go, I want a part of that. So maybe we're going to, maybe the contest is, when will we actually get to do this podcast in person together? Like, that's a goal I'm going for.
Me too. I've been thinking about that a lot. And this topic is very interesting to me because I know I've been in a place before where, even here in beautiful Florida, where I have this feeling, right? Am I actually happy, right? Like I've changed my whole life and here I am, and am I happy? So I love this topic. And when you said something, Debbie, when you said, oh gosh, I can't remember exactly what it was, but it really resonated with me because, we are designing our lives and we are building them together. So we're building them separately and together. When you said Ignite and the fact that, a lot of times people want to change their life, but they don't know how or when, or they don't have that person in their life that understands and wants to encourage them to do that. So they just kind of put it on hold, put it on the shelf. How many people have put your dreams on a shelf? Yeah. There's a shelf behind Debbie she's pointing to. So it's such an important topic, and I'm so excited to dive in. And so thank you, everyone who's watching. Go ahead and put in the comments, where are you joining us from? We would love, love, love to know. You could be at LinkedIn, or you could be on Facebook, or you could be on YouTube. We are live everywhere. And the point of this podcast is really not just for you to hear Debbie and Nicole and my opinions on life. It's really to bring you into the conversation. That's why we call it the shared diary. That's why we created this. And to my knowledge, nothing like this exists. So super excited to just dive in. And hello, Gina. Hello. Thank you for saying hi. I know Gina, she's joining us from Amsterdam. So this is a worldwide event. Okay, so we are going to talk about, are you actually happy or are you just used to your life? So again, this is a shared experience. Please join us in this conversation. So I want to read a diary entry. These are so helpful to me. It helps me kind of get into my mind of what does this topic really mean? It deep dives into a conversation and diary entry. So here is our diary entry. Dear diary, nothing is really wrong. My life is fine. I have people I love, responsibilities, routines, and things to be grateful for. I get up, I take care of things, I make plans, I laugh, and I keep going. But when things get quiet, I wonder, am I actually happy? Then I feel guilty for asking, what am I complaining about? Maybe happiness isn't supposed to feel exciting. Maybe it's just what life becomes. But what if I'm not content? What if I'm simply gotten used to my life, the routines, expectations, the things that I say yes to, the things I've stopped asking for? When did I ask myself last, do I still want this? Not, is this practical? Should I be grateful? But does this life feel like mine? I don't think I need to blow up my life or reinvent myself. I just want to know I'm still choosing it. So maybe the question isn't, is my life good enough? Maybe it's, does the life I'm living still feel good to me? And honestly, I don't know the answer yet. Wow. Nicole, what are your thoughts after hearing that? Have you ever been in that place?
Yeah, well, I think so many of us have been in that place. I actually got shivers when you were reading that because it's one of those things that, I think a lot of us often don't take the time to ask this question because it's a question that kind of scares us a little bit because it means if I do take the time to slow down and ask this question, what do I have to change or what will I have to do? Right. And I think that for me is like, right. If I'm not happy. And I think also, like you were saying in that diary entry, there's a lot of guilt sometimes when we look at our life and if we have a nice life, right? We have our health possibly, or we have friends and family around us. And we may have a job that's, a good job. So how can we even ask that? And so I think that's sometimes a question that or a feeling that you can get from that too, is that guilt of, can I even ask myself this question? But I think it's a very important question to ask because we are entitled to feel joy, to feel happy, to feel fulfilled. And we're the only one who can actually make that happen. So for me, yes, I'm looking forward to this, and that was my reflection when you wrote that in there. That I just felt the shivers go through me. So how about you, Debbie? When Lori was reading that, what came up for you?
Yeah, well, a couple things really hit me hard. The one thing was the things I stopped asking for. Wow. That's true reflection on, when did I give up on my dreams, my desires, my wants, and just continue, giving or performing or allowing others to drive the bus. The other thing that stood out is the I wonder, right? We need to take time to sit in that curiosity without the judgment, without the right or wrong, good or bad. And that's that cycle of emotional yuck. I call it that toxic below the love and above emotions, where it could be shame or blame or guilt for feeling the things we're feeling, the desires that we have. And so building from that place of curiosity is just, of course, this diary entry, I believe, is the basis of a retreat. It's a basis of journaling. It's reflective. It's everything. And it doesn't matter that it's for people. It's not just for people that have a bad life, because we can look at others that are truly suffering. We've talked about that, caregivers that are struggling right now, mental health that's crazy through the roof. But for people that feel like, look at me, like I have nothing to complain about. And yet sometimes I feel like there's more. Sometimes I feel a little bit empty, or I wish that I could have this, but I keep it all to myself because I don't want anybody else to think, who does she think she is when she's got such a beautiful life? Don't know about you, but I've had many people through my life said things like, well, she should be happy. She's got a great husband and a great money coming in and she's being taken care of. What else does she want? And do we just need the basics to survive? Or is there possible that we can choose to thrive in our lives instead of just surviving? Just good enough. I'm fine. So great conversation. Lori, what about you?
Yeah, when I was reading that, I was thinking too of, my own life and my own experience. That's where we all really pull from, I guess, because we never know what other people's lives are like. And some people that I might look up to are doing wonderfully in life, but maybe they're miserable, like they're actually feeling miserable for whatever reason. So I think that in between where you are looking at your life, I mean, I'm here in the water and I'm like looking at my life and thinking, gosh, I'm so lucky. But then there's seasons when I wake up, even though I see palm trees outside my window, where I just wonder, is this what I want? And I think that's a question that a lot of us ask when we're reflecting on our own lives, is this really what I want? And so I don't think that's a bad question to ask. And I think that if you're not asking that, then you can get stuck. We can get stuck into that pattern of wake up, do this, go to bed, wake up, do this. For me, I don't ever want to be in a pattern like that. I think that's why when I moved to Florida and did some touring of the beaches and did Airbnbs, why I enjoyed that so much, because every day was an adventure. I knew there was like an end time. I wasn't going to be stuck in one place, So I completely resonate with this, because I remember one time where I had to go back to Oklahoma, but then I had to take a trip here to Florida. And when I got to Florida, because in Oklahoma, I just felt like, this yearning for change and the future. And when I got to Florida and I didn't feel wonderful, I still had this feeling of like, do I like my life? I was like, wait a minute, I'm in the place I want to be. Why am I feeling this way? So sometimes it's not your circumstances. Sometimes it's internal. So I had to really dig deep and go, why? Why am I sitting here on the beach and I'm unhappy or I'm not satisfied? So yes, that definitely resonated with me. And I know there's so many out there thinking the same thing, and you're like, let's talk about this, let's get to the other side. So I know that we talked about how important this conversation is, but I want to ask Nicole and Debbie, have you ever had a specific time, and maybe tell a story about what that was like, where you looked at your life and you thought everything is technically okay, so why don't I feel happier?
Yeah. Yes, I have.
Go ahead and just spill your guts.
Yes. Well, I also want to come back to 1 second before I answer Lonnie. I loved what she had to say in there, is just fine living in your purpose. And I thank you for adding that in there, because, many of us say, I'm fine, I'm just fine. Right. But is it living in our purpose? Is it lighting us up? Are we excited to get out of bed in the morning? Are we, at the end of the day, when we put our head on the pillow, are we happy with how the day went? Right. And not every day is going to be rainbows. We know that for sure. But I want, that feeling of like fulfillment that I'm living in my purpose. And I did have that so many years ago, when the kids were younger. I really did want to be working in a certain career. I wanted to be contributing to the house. I wanted to be financially bringing things in, and I wanted to be creating. And I felt so much guilt, because if you were to really look at my life, I mean, a lot of people would be like, I'd love to stay home with my kids. I can't even, like, I'd love to, but we can't. And so I was like, oh my gosh, so true, so true. And then, also like looking at I had healthy children, I had, a husband, I had all these things, family, friends, great things. But there was part of me that just didn't feel alive. And I know that part of me was the part that wanted to create, the part that wanted to contribute, the part that wanted to make an impact. Not that I wasn't making an impact in my family, because I was. And I think it took me a while to even see that. I had people have to reflect that back to me, right? To really see that too, because I believe being a stay-at-home mom is one of the most challenging jobs out there, because it's, you're living it all every day, helping these little ones live their lives. And so I believe it's a very, very important job. But I also believe that it's okay to want more, or to want something different, or to want something on top of what you've already been doing. And I didn't think it was okay at that time. So yes, I fought back and forth all the time. It was like, don't bring that up. Don't even think about it. Just stay grateful. Just be like happy. But when you really do want something else, it's very hard to neglect it. It's like this whisper that continues to say, but there's more. There's more. And I find that's a really tricky place to be, a really tricky place, because it's not necessarily a happy place to be, because it's a little bit of an internal battle that's happening on what you would love and what you also think is possible. And it's that in between. So yes, Lori, I felt that deeply. And there was a lot of beliefs behind why I didn't jump to pursue something outside, because I had a lot of beliefs that were so deep that I actually couldn't see it. I told that story so often that I couldn't even see a way out. I did not see options. I did not. So thank you for asking that. But that is how I completely relate to this. Completely relate. Debbie, how about for you?
Yeah, I can think of many times that this feels like it, but the overall theme is when things shift in your own life, your reality, right? So maybe your kids leave home and they go off to college, or maybe there's grandchildren, or maybe there's a new career. And those definitely happen to me on different shifts. It's an identity. Well, who am I now? Who am I if those things or circumstances or my job or role changes? Who am I? And so then there's also this deeper calling. You said that it's this call forward. It's this calling, this purpose, this mission, this message that wants to come through you, but you're in the middle of it. You don't really know what it is. Like, I have this pull, but I can't figure out what I'm meant to do with it. And it's through that investigation. But I'll go back and tell a story of a real time when this happened. It was, I'd had multiple things that had happened. Maybe every year something new happened, and you get to this point, it's like, oh my God, like, how much more can I take? And it got to that point, is like, my body started giving out. You guys have heard the story. And I was like, I need to rediscover who I am. What do I want to do? Not what somebody else wants me to do, because my day was full. Like, time-wise, I had no time for myself. But everybody else was telling me and dictating where my time was spent, where I should be happy, what I should be doing. And so it really was like, well, without those things, community volunteer, friend that does everything, mother that's always on call, without those things, who am I? And what would light me up and what would fuel my cup? Well, I don't know about you too, but at the time that happened, your body starts doing things. And one of them was waking up in panic at 3 o'clock in the morning. And I was just like this. And, doctors will tell you, oh, that's a hormonal spike. Well, guess what? I don't have that anymore. So all these signs of these, life isn't the way it's supposed to be. Something is misaligned. There is incongruencies. And that's when I started using the essential oils to help people get out of that fight or flight, help their limbic system in their brain that's telling you danger, danger, to calm down so you could see, so you could hear, so you could understand. And you weren't running away from emotions, but you were actually inviting them because they were now showing you somewhere there was a gap. And that's where I really started focusing on helping people get out of their own way, because I had been in my own way for a long time. So that's my story of how this is relatable to, am I truly happy, or am I just living on autopilot? Am I letting my emotions run my bus, or am I choosing an emotion which chooses an intentionality which makes me show up in a way that's really aligned to who I am? Back to you.
I love that, Debbie. It's so true. Am I living in my emotions, or am I really doing what I love? So and you can have both, right? So even when you're doing what you love, you can have those emotions that aren't fun to experience. So I think just acknowledge the fact that just because you meet a goal or you're doing exactly what you want to be doing in life doesn't mean that you can't have those emotions. But I love what you said, Debbie, because we can't let those emotions rule our actions in our lives. And so just acknowledging the emotion, letting it go. And like you, Debbie, I went through a time where I was in complete burnout, and I think I was internalizing everything, not expressing anything really to anyone, that what I was going through. So I think having those emotions, going through the emotions, and then having someone you can maybe express to is key. But definitely felt that, definitely lived through that, and I expect I'll live through it again. So this is a very helpful conversation for me, just to hear from other women, and for you who are listening and watching, your experience. So thank you, Lonnie. Thank you, Jenny. Thank you, Gina. Thank you guys for your contributions in the comments. Keep them coming. We want you to chime in as well. The next question I want to ask is, do you think sometimes we change, but our lives don't change with us? I think this is an absolute yes for me. And I'll go a step further. Sometimes we change, our lives don't change with us, and the people who surround us also don't change, which makes it a little difficult. So, Nicole, I'd love to hear your insight on this question.
Well, yes, I feel that does happen for sure. I think one thing that I know is once you start doing personal development work, you really start to take a good look at your life and who you are, and you start to get very honest about who you want to be and how you want to show up, and honest about your responsibility in life, and to lead your life and to be the person who can create your life. And when you do this work, it's not easy work. It's not always easy, right? It's challenging work, because really when you start to do it, some of the people who have known you one way start to see you in a different way. And that can be very uncomfortable. It can be very uncomfortable for you to have to show up in a way that is different than how you have shown up, which is really probably more the way you always have been, but just have been hiding it, or been under those stories, just not living the most authentic you. And so as you start to do this, it can be really quite uncomfortable, because you start to see where your life doesn't necessarily match how you feel anymore. And it's tough on people around you as well. I always say that when we do this work, it's interesting because it's a ripple effect. It's a ripple effect, right? You start doing the work on you, and you start, getting clear on what you would love, who you are, how you want to show up. You start putting boundaries into place. You start to do all these things. And sometimes around us, not everybody loves that, right? I used to always say to my clients, and we've talked about this before, that, the people that really don't love that you put boundaries in place are the ones who love that you had none, that you had none, right? And so when you start to do this, it can be really challenging. And So, but what I also believe is that when you get very clear, it gets easier to make your decisions. It gets easier to say, this is where I'm going and this is what I would love to do. And many times, it starts with you. Like if you want to have a change in the world, it does start with you, right? It starts in one place. And the people around you sometimes would love that too. And it gives them permission to maybe do the things they would love to do, or it gives you permission to start changing some of the ways you are showing up in your life and who you're showing up with. So it is a very interesting thing. And I do notice that because it is individual work. A lot of this is individual work, but it is some of the most important work because you get to live more authentically you. So how about for you, Debbie? Have you noticed that too? This bit of a pattern?
Yeah, definitely. And I was really interested to hear your perspective because you work with identity and glass ceiling. And so I recognize very much that when we start to grow, the people around us feel uncomfortable, like they're being either asked to level up or they're not good enough. So their own stories come into play, and that's fearful. And fear triggers a reaction that is, again, a pattern or habit. What's that is? Sometimes people aren't trying to keep you. It's not narcissistic. They're not trying to keep you in this pattern, but that's what your relationship has always been, right? I tell you what I need and you go do it. So why aren't you doing it for me anymore? I don't like this. I don't like that you're your own person and that you're developing. But this is for us to grow through and come up with a new dance and a new balance and a new habit and pattern that feels good again. And that's growth. Growth feels uncomfortable. But when we up level, when we do the inner work, every single time when we're being called forward, it's not egotistic. So you guys know my shine framework. We're not coming from, you have to listen to me, I'm the right one. But where we're fully aligned in our heart and soul and where we're being guided to go, when you come from that place and you are your highest self speaking, you're leveling up and others around you naturally do as well. Now, one of the things that I witness, and it's not shame or blame, it is curiosity, is I witness that when I am in the room, because I have boundaries about gossiping and about different things that I just don't do, my friends level up too. And they thrive on that in this conversation today, when Debbie's here, it's not going to happen. We're going to come out of here. Well, guess what? We're all happier that day. We're all more fulfilled that day. You guys have all been in rooms where it feels really energy draining or energy giving. So paying attention, we get to level up, our identity shifts and the people around us shift as well. And I believe that's why we're being called forward as way showers, as guides, to live that example and to be that, because we're helping the world be a better place, not just our little world, but the bigger world, a better place.
Wow, so beautiful. Just like Gina said, so beautiful, Debbie. Thank you for sharing. And Nicole, you too. I just love the fact that we can bring these topics up so that we're growing as everyone who's listening and watching is growing. We're growing together. We're sharing this experience. So I love that. And I've been in those rooms or around those people when, they drag you down, and then there's people who inspire you and you just feel like you're on top of the world, right? Hello, Kenna. Thank you. She says, I love this. Keep it up. Well, we're moving on to the next question, which is so important too. I think this is one of those things where I love this opportunity because you don't get to slow down during your week. Nicole and I were just talking about how the week just went super fast. It's like when you slow down and actually ask yourself these questions, that invites an attitude of curiosity and change and reflection, right? And speaking of reflection, I want to remind you guys, every week we have a reflection guide to these conversations. So you can actually go to our website, shareddiarypodcast.com, and click on the reflection guide, sign up to get it emailed to you, but also just download today's or yesterday or last week's or the week before. They're all up there for you. So just want to mention that because they are, if you talk about a deep dive, it's like 5 pages of questions and places to write and things to think about and actions to take. So one of those resources that we'd really love for you to just use to your advantage. So I'm curious for our audience, if someone listening realizes there's actually something in my life that doesn't fit anymore, what would that be? So this question is there something in your life that doesn't fit anymore, right? Where in your life do you feel most like yourself? And where do you feel least like yourself? What about you, Nicole? You're laughing.
I'm laughing because I did a masterclass this week on this. I actually and where we started was actually, where do you feel Debbie showing the work that we did this week. It was all about, how can you be fully you, right? And in certain circumstances, and really recognizing where we take a step back or we feel like we can't be fully ourselves, and in circumstances where we can be fully who we are. And so we did an exercise on this, and it's so interesting. I loved doing it for myself as well, because I really recognized where I feel very free and where I do hold back. And for me, I was just explaining that in there, that for me, lots of times when I'm with my kids and with them and my family, like they see me as like all the things that I am, right? Like when I roll out of bed, oh my gosh, they're everywhere. Makeup probably down here. And they're like, oh, hey, mom, but I'm fully me. I'm fully me. And, or like when I'm goofy or I make mistakes or I'm upset, I'm fully me with them, fully me. And I think that, I'm so grateful that we can have spaces to be that. I also feel fully me when I dance or when I'm with my clients and I'm like, we're working together, I feel fully me. Or when I'm in nature, I feel fully me. And then I notice places where I hold back, and why I found stories about what I do, like even in my business or social media, where I will have like a hesitation on some of the things. And maybe somebody can relate to that out there, that they like look at the post they're about to do and they read it about 10 times. And like, does that make sense? And who's going to be, will everybody like this post? Probably not. Like all the things that go through your head. And I hesitate more there for a couple of reasons. It's my business, right? You care deeply about those things that you're putting out. I think it's the stakes that are sometimes attached to things, right? Like when their stakes are higher, you sometimes think a little bit deeper, a little bit longer. But what's really interesting that I thought about that as I've been moving through this is that I want to connect the real me with the people out there, because they need the real me, because I don't want it to be somebody else they meet, right? I want it to be just me, just me. And I think there's a lot of things that are filtered out there right now, a lot of filtering. And I keep working on being the most me and accepting me as the most me, right? Like all the things, all my flaws, all my mistakes, the things I do, I keep working on accepting that and loving them, trying to love them, because they're all part of me, all of them, all the things, right? And so interesting that came up today, and it must have been in my head as I was creating today's podcast anyways. But yeah, it's very interesting to do those exercises and really figure out where you feel the most you and where you hold back, because it's really nice to be able to start to work through some of those things, and also to enjoy more of the places where you feel fully you. So Debbie, how about for you?
Well, you guys seen, if you were watching, you seen that reaction right away, because it was just on Wednesday that masterclass happened. And so inside of our community, we have extraordinary exchanges, and that happened. And then right afterwards, Nicole's masterclass inside of the Shine Circle happened. And it was a day of deep reflection for me and a huge mindset shift. And so I want to invite everybody to reach out. If you want access to that masterclass, I told Nicole afterwards that it just blew my mind. And I want more people to have access to that one specifically. So the team is in the process right now of making sure that that's something that can be public. So let us know. And Nicole, go ahead and type in there what the name of that was so they can request it. But what stood out to me, and then this question here now is that, and I circled it on my page, free to be me. We always talk about just be you. But if you don't know who that is, how can you be that? And so free to be me, that's another level. That's not just be me, that's free to be me. That's permission. That feels so light. And so what I had to recognize is like, oh my goodness, so where am I not feeling like that? Like your questions were so inviting to really not, and you always do it in such a beautiful way. There's never shame, there's just reflection. And I realized that I was still living in buckets. So here's what I want to show up for my friends. Here's what I show up for my family. Here's where I show up for my online community, which by the way is one of the places I'm the most free to be me. So that was interesting as well. And then does my inner circle really know the version of me that shows up online, that teaches, that speaks, that does all these things? So that was an interesting concept too. But Nicole, I want to go back and I want anybody that's listening right now, I want you to reflect on this. Isn't it the most beautiful thing that Nicole with her kids is the most free? Like many of us as parents, we're the parent and we don't really show the version of us that's the fun and the da 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 and the silly. And to be able to be loved and accepted for who you truly are at home, I think is one of the biggest gifts that anybody could have. And so I say kudos to you because I'm not sure that I have that I could, like, if, the girlfriends, you go out and you're like literally silly and you do anything and you make fun of yourself. If I come down with my hair like that, I'd be like, oh, that's just mom. But nobody would laugh about it or tease or whatever, right? So I don't know. I envy you a little bit with that, and I'm recognizing the emotion that I feel and a bit of a longing that I feel to have that. It feels like I would be back in that like high school when I was like not just with my family but with my best friends too. And so good for you.
Well, thank you, Debbie. I thank you for reflecting that back to me. I don't, and I can't necessarily explain it all, but that is my place where I feel the safest. And I like, we are very goofy as a family. We're so goofy lots of times, but I love to embrace our goofiness. I used to always tell the kids, like, just be you, just be all of you, because I want to love all parts of you. I want to know all parts of you, right? Whether you're happy, you're sad, or you're whatever it is, because that is you. That is you. And it's all parts, and all parts are beautiful.
And I want to just point out before I hand it over to you, Lori, because I think it's really important that I recognized when you were talking about that masterclass and you walked it through. It's like, that's why I've created this space, to be seen, to be heard, to create safety for people, to have permission, that you don't come in and you have to behave a certain way. We have a beautiful culture of people that come in. They just know that that's what it's like, but it's still them. I want all the messy. Like Lonnie, if you're still with us here, I love that she cries. I love that things matter to her. I love that about her. I would never want her to leave that part of her outside the door. Bring it all in and let us embrace it. Let's help you feel safe, to feel seen, heard, and valued and respected. And it's really come out to me loud and clear. Like I have notes because I always have notes, but that with things that stood out, like we'll all talk about that pivotal time in our life where it's just like, boom, I got it. This will always sit down as a thing of boom, I got it. And it was from all levels. No more buckets, just right across the pillar. So thank you, Nicole.
Thank you, Debbie. Thank you.
I love that. I love that. And if you missed it, the masterclass title is The Identity Beneath the Surface, the courage to be fully you. Wow. That's what this podcast, what our communities are all about. It's the work that Nicole does. It's my community. It's Debbie's community. And that's what's so beautiful about an experience like this. And thank you, by the way, Lonnie. Lonnie gives hearts and Gina gives hearts. so important for you guys to be a part of this conversation. We invite that. So thank you for your participation. And I definitely have felt every word that you ladies have said. And, where in your life do you feel most like yourself right now? Definitely in my community, in this environment, in this podcast, there's things that I do with my life that I'm just like, I just feel like I'm just about to burst, right? And there's other things that, I feel like I shrink. So I think it's important to pay attention to those things and really dig deep on why, right? Because when I'm shrinking, it's usually because I'm comparing myself to someone or something. And so I am tired of shrinking. I am ready to explode. So I'm trying new things, in my community. If you're in the Be Awesome Network, you know that like we're going to put out a book, we're going to do all kinds of fun things. So it's really fun. It's fun to do new and exciting things. And within that feeling of this is most like me, So thank you, Nicole and Debbie, for sharing that. And thank you guys for listening and watching. We are going to shift into our rapid fire questions. These are always just really fun. You get to kind of know, we get surprised because we don't know they're coming, and you get to know who we are and how we think and what we do. And then you get to also mention in the comments your choice. So this is a this or that. Okay. So I'm just going to ask, routine or spontaneity? Which is more you? Nicole?
Oh my gosh. Okay. I love being spontaneous, but the routine is something that I thrive in. If I have routines, it helps me, like for my health and my wellness. There's a lot that I keep very routine, and I'm trying to even get better with that, like better sleep at night, and moving my body in a certain way that's good for my stage of life I'm in right now. But the routines that I like to build habits that support my life, and so I love to build certain ones. And then there's certain ones that are like my core. Like they help me feel alive all the time, and they make me feel like I can get through life and I can do things. And then once that is in place, bring on the spontaneity, because I love somebody to say, let's just go here. And I'm like, yes, let's go here, or let's go do this, or whatever it is, because it always expands my courage. I feel that. Like I've been one of those people, and maybe I don't know if other people are out there in life, but like the preparers, the ones who like to be prepared for things, probably some of that perfectionism and all of that. And so when I go and just be spontaneous, that's where actually I find I come more alive than in the parts where I have to contain. I find that it's actually probably more me. And so I need a little bit of both. And so that's like my answer today. I have both, but I would say routine has helped me just live the way I want to live. And the spontaneity brings me like so much aliveness. Like, let's go. Let's go. How about you, Debbie?
Lori, you must laugh at us, this or that. And every time we say both, we could go back and we could do this. But yeah, mine is so similar to your, Nicole. And I actually think that the habit or pattern is intentional and for growth and for stability, right? So if I think about my business, I need to have these things, these tasks, so everybody else know what's going on, not just Debbie going, oh, do this, let's do that. But what brings me fully alive? Oh my goodness, spontaneity. And when I think about doing it in community, like the people that are kind of in our inner circle and that we just love hanging with, if I got to do spontaneity trips with you, adventures, retreats, yes, yes, and yes. So I know what fills my cup up, and yet I know what keeps me with that safety so that I can have that full cup. Because I don't think when we're surviving, we can even start to fill up our cup. We're just barely, getting it there. So that's my answer. Very much similar to Nicole's.
Well, I love you both for that. Let's just be clear. I'm definitely a little of both. I love having my routine, like yoga, and every morning, because if I know what to expect when I wake up, it really is helpful to me and it helps my nervous system, right? Because I learned way back whenever I crashed that that's really something that I need to pay attention to. But I absolutely love to be spontaneous. In fact, I'm here at a restaurant moving around because the rain is coming during a podcast, you know. I'm so glad that this camera is like this because literally some guy just came up and asked me if he could buy me a beer. And literally when you were talking, Debbie, I was like, uh-huh. And I was like ventriloquist in my mouth. I was like, no, I'm on a podcast. So, I mean, as silly as that all is, and as crazy as that sounds, I kind of enjoy stuff like that. I like being spontaneous. I like being in a different place all the time. So that's my answer. And I thought you guys would get a kick out of that.
Okay, I just have to call to this because we say that we're one of the only podcasts / live shows that does this, and we're honest and we're living it. I was going to point it out earlier that like you having your kids there visiting you and you're being tourist and you're doing this just where you are, that gives us all permission to be real too. And then you literally tell us that somebody wanted to buy you a beer while you're on your podcast. I had to put this here because I think this might be a clip we share. I want that. How come my husband isn't asking me if I want a beer while I'm doing the podcast?
It's hilarious. It's hilarious. But I feel like that's what makes life fun. Spontaneity does make life fun. So if we try to control everything, and I've been there too, trying to control everything, I was miserable when I was doing that. So yeah, I thought you guys would get a kick out of that. And yes, please, Debbie's husband, if you're listening, bring her a beer. Oh my goodness. All right. Well, we're going to roll on to the next question. This was really fun. And this is kind of a little bit of the same, but I would love to know that comfort or adventure. So what do you guys, I feel like this might be in both for all of us, but I would love to hear your answers.
Yeah, I think, definitely both. I think there's times where comfort is so needed, right? Just so needed, where you have those nights where, like, I think of times where, I'm watching a movie that I love under a blanket, all cozy, and, maybe having one of my favorite meals, maybe a glass of wine, whatever it is. And, just that feeling of like, oh, all is well in the world, or I'm watching the kids and all is well, like everything is well. And so I think comfort is an important part of our nervous system, what it needs as well, right? So comfort is beautiful, but I really, really desire adventure. I really desire it. Like I really want to. I have so many places I still want to go in the world. I have so many people I want to meet. I'm so fascinated with people, so fascinated, like just their culture, how they think, what they love. So adventure to me is, if I didn't have adventure in my life, I would really struggle. I would really struggle because it's what expands me. It's what it gives me a greater view of what life is about. And so yes, I love the comfort of certain things for sure. Like even when I think about fall's coming here and it's going to be more cozy sweater time, I think about that too. Or, like once you're even when you think about like your business is making more sense for you and you're in there and it's like, I'm feeling more comfortable. I can go and share this easier. All those things. It feels good to feel that stability. But for me, the adventure has to be part of the equation. It has to be, because there is so much to do while we're here living, and so much to explore. And I think we find a lot of ourselves through the adventure, like more of who we are. How about for you, Debbie?
Yeah, I love that last sentence. I think we find more of ourselves through the adventure. I think we give ourselves permission to be more of ourselves through adventure. It's part of that creativity. I like what Lonnie said. I like comfort gives us the confidence to be adventurous. I think it goes back to the same thing we were talking about with safety and adventure and stability and all these things. It's whether it comes out in adventure or spontaneity or anything, it's all the same thing. Are you allowing yourself to be fully you, free to be you, paying attention? What does that? What doesn't do it? I think that for me, when you guys are talking today, and maybe because I was just at a birthday party before I came on live, but I was thinking about what a beautiful opportunity to celebrate life when you get to be with people that you know, it's their birthday. You're going to spend time with them that day. What are you going to do? Who knows? And who cares? I don't want to plan it all out. I want it to be adventurous. If we jumped in the vehicle and did a road trip, that'd be great, right? When you get to be this age in my life, I should probably have both the time freedom and money freedom to do whatever I want to celebrate that person in whichever way feels good. And so I don't know about you. When you said there's so many places that I want to see in the world, there's definitely, I have a bucket list of the people that I want to go visit that I know around the world. But what would be better than somebody showing up at your house and saying, I'm here and I'm here to take you out on an adventure this weekend? So that's also around here. We do surprise girls getaways. So all you know is the date and to pack a suitcase. That's all you know. Somebody has planned it 100% and you don't know any details about it. And it's just for girls. So I think maybe the Shine community needs to start doing this.
Absolutely. The Be Awesome community is going to join the Shine community in that. There's a company that actually does that. I can't remember the name of it. I think it's called Journey or something like that, where you give them your budget, you give them places you like to go, and they email you your packing list. So you know what to pack, but you literally don't know where you're going till you get to the airport. And so how fun is that? So that really appeals to me. Comfort is great. I love comfort, but being adventurous is, for me in this stage of life, like I was not adventurous for a while because I had to be, solid and stable for the people in my life. But now that I'm kind of in this phase of life where I get to decide what I want to do and where I want to go, then it makes it so much fun. So for me, I lean more towards the adventure. But I loved what you said, Nicole, about you need to be comfortable in your business, because I think of people who might own a business and they just keep reinventing themselves over and over and over. A new product, a new service, a new. And then, as a person, that person to me doesn't feel very reliable. So I like to be reliable. I like to be responsible, even though it may not look like it today. Just sitting at a bar, getting beers offered to me at a podcast. But yes, I totally agree with everything you guys are saying. I love these questions. It's a this or that. It's a quick fire, and of course, we're almost to the end of our time. And so I want to be sure you guys know that there are tools that you can download. There's a reflection guide. It's on our website. I want to mention that one more time. I also want to mention some opportunities that are coming up. And Debbie, you were not with us last week, but I want you to talk about Ignite, because it's a program. It's an opportunity for only 10 women. So it's very important that if this sounds good to you, you need to jump on it right now. But it's a lot to do with what we've been talking about today. So I'm going to give that opportunity to you, Debbie.
Yeah, well, thank you. I listened to what you guys said last week, and it was absolutely phenomenal. And the heart and the passion really speaks through to the women that we're looking for here. And I'll just say that it is a 4-week program. designed by Nicole and I, because we knew these women. We knew them in our hearts. We knew we were them at one time. If we had this type of support, just think where we could go. It is called Ignite, because you are going to ignite your life, your business, or just you in solid, certainty of who you are and what you're here to do. But let's go back to the actual program. Why we developed it is already been said. What it is that thing that's going to help you get out of your own way. And yes, I've done these types of programs myself. What I see in Nicole and what she brings in with her modalities and her all the different tools in which she does, I'm like, who else would I want to do this with? So we've branded it a Shine Leadership Advantage. And guys, you can go out and hire Nicole yourself. You do not need me. She is the brains in this. But I want more people to see it. And the reason that I think it's perfect for our audiences, both the Be Extraordinary, both the Be Awesome, both all Nicoles, the three of us together, is that we do know women that are like, I have this dream on my heart, been saying it for 6 years, haven't done anything about it. I want to write a book. I want to start a podcast. I want to create a course. And they're still in the getting ready to get ready stage. And we're like, no more. Let's ignite you. Let's take you through this. Let's investigate. What is that thing that's blocking you? I'm always looking for the gap, and I coach people on the gap and the opportunity to shift your perspective. But I don't do hypnosis, right? Nicole does. She is an expert at understanding you, gently guiding you through, and then holding you accountable. As our landing page says, you're never going to be left alone. In fact, if your habit of starting something and then quitting halfway through, we're also we got our eyes on you. We're going to pull you back in with your permission. You're going to give us permission to do that at the beginning when you say yes to this program. But what could happen in your life if you did this? It's not just the 4 weeks, and it's not just the bonus session that we have afterwards with Lori. It is that we are now part of a community that helps each other. We're going to have a special WhatsApp group. We know your dreams, we know your fears, and then we know how to get you through that. We've all been doing that for decades. This is the first time we're offering it together as a package. And I think that it's so, again, we create for you what we needed. And we needed this. And I tell you, I would have paid a lot more than we're charging for this, because we need you to take the first step. And that's why we've kept this price so low. Yeah, Nicole.
Yeah, thank you, Debbie. I mean, you just worded it so beautifully. And I think that I know for a fact I would have loved this, because when you have a vision, you want somebody to hear it and acknowledge it and recognize it. So just to know that, first of all, we see you. We see you, that what you would love to put out in the world matters. What you would love to do matters. If it's been sitting in your heart for a long time, or maybe it's only been the last 6 months and you're just like, I really want to do this thing. It matters. It really, really matters. And what I do know is that when we're wanting to do something that is new, the mind will tell us every reason why we can't. It will come up and be, because it's not familiar, right? Right now, it is not familiar. But what we do is help you move through that so that it becomes something that you're so excited to do, something that you are so proud of yourself for stepping into. A lot of this takes an identity of a person who can do what they need to do. And many times we're trying to create what we would love from our past identity of what we thought was possible. But there's so much more ahead of you when we really tap into what you've been telling yourself for a long time and what needs to come in order to live out this dream. And the other thing is I want to express is this is a really safe place to do it. A really safe place to do it, because this is a place where we want to, this isn't a place where we're going to push you. We're going to help you. We're going to help you step into all of you, right? All of you. And you're going to be supported by people all around you. And it comes down to making a decision. And I think this is a really important thing. Decisions mean everything. I remember Bob Proctor, one of my mentors, used to always say, you need to decide and then it all falls into place. Because many times there was a story he had about somebody that they wanted to buy a new house. And he said, can you come over and talk to us about buying this new house? And he said, sure, I can come over and talk to you about buying this new house. And they said, well, we would love to buy this new house. And he said, well, why haven't you done it? And he said, well, we're trying to think of our budget and we're trying to think of what we can afford. And we're like still looking at all the different homes. And he said, you haven't decided yet to buy the house. You have to decide. And then it all starts to fall into place. And I think that is so true, because the decision to say yes to you is when everything starts to change. It really does. I say that from my actual lived experience. When I've said yes to myself, everything starts to change, because my identity changed the second I said yes to myself, because now I believe I matter. I absolutely matter. And what I would love matters. So I wanted to bring that in today because both Debbie and I and Lori have this vision of incredible people doing what they are meant to do in the most beautiful way. And we will be right by your side, because this is implementation. This isn't just about talking about what you would love. This is implementation, so that at the end, like into the fall, you will be saying, I did it. And I did it, right? And so we're very, very excited about this, and we would love you to join us, love you to do this.
So great. I love both Debbie and how Debbie explained it, Nicole explained it, and I have been a part of an Ignite call, and I got so much out of that call. It was only an hour. This is a whole 4-week process with a 10 group of ladies, same ladies over and over again, right? And we all know what happens when you're in a room with the same ladies over and over again. You start to create these bonds. You start to encourage one another. You start to feel invincible. Like, why haven't I done this? I'm going to do this. And then it just catches on, right? So I love that. I love that. So thank you for all your hard work, Debbie and Nicole, putting this together and inviting me to be a part. So ignite.debbieprediger.com. You can also find it on shareddaripodcast.com. It's on the front page, but more information, just click that link and find out more. I mean, what do you have to lose, right? So, well, thank you guys so much for being a part of today's podcast. And we love you so much. We want to encourage you to take that next step. You can download the reflection guide and go to the website, check out Ignite. There's so many things that you can do. I want to ask one more question before we end, and that's always our last and final question. If you wrote one sentence at the bottom of today's diary entry, what would it say? This week, I'm ready to stop believing, and I'm just not going to do this. Maybe it's I am. Maybe it's an I am statement, like I am ready. What is your sentence, Nicole?
Well, I think it's coming back to this again of what the topic was today. And we were talking about, where do you feel most free and to be you? And I think it's, again, just be fully you. Be fully you. Right? And that's all I want to keep reminding myself and anybody out there. Be fully you. There's nobody else like you. There is nobody else like you. So that would be mine. How about for you, Debbie?
Yes. Dear diary, I am free to be me. End of sentence. And thank you. What a beautiful conversation today.
Yes, I agree. And mine would be, I am ready. I actually said it as an example, but I am ready. Like, let's do this, right? I am ready. And I hope all of you are ready. And we just want to say thank you. Thank you for being a part of our conversation. Without you, this would not be as much fun. So thank you for being a part. Thank you for chiming in. Thank you for giving us your insights, your feelings, your opinions, and you matter. and you matter to us. So thank you for being a part of the Shared Diary. And I hope that you're happy with your life by the end of this time together. I hope you know that you're not alone. And I hope you know that you can always find us here every Friday at 2 p.m. Eastern. And you can follow along and chime in the comments. We would love that. Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, you can find us all 3 places. 3 women, no secrets, just life, because life is better when the diary is open.
Before we close today's diary, we just want to say thank you. Thank you for spending your time with us, for listening, for reflecting, and for being willing to open your heart along with ours. It truly means more than you know. The Shared Diary isn't just our story, it's yours too. If today's conversation encouraged you, challenged you, or reminded you that you're not alone, we'd love for you to stay connected. You can find us at shareddiarypodcast.com, where you'll discover episode archives, resources, and ways to connect with our community. If you'd like to reach out to Lori, Debbie, or Nicole, you'll find all of our information there as well. We'd love to hear your story. If you're watching on YouTube, Facebook, or LinkedIn, don't forget to like this episode, leave us a comment, and subscribe so you never miss a conversation. And if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you enjoy podcasts, be sure to follow the show, leave a rating, and share it with someone who might need to hear today's message. Most importantly, keep showing up, keep growing, keep sharing your story, because life is better when the diary is open. We're here for you. You're not alone. We'll see you next time on The Shared Diary.